Hi, I'm supposed to be writing, but I'm distracted by the garden and the little blackcaps who are foraging today. So as it's the end of August, I thought I would make the end of August video of the garden. So come and join me. So I'm starting at my writing hut today. I don't feel that a lot has changed. We had a very, very hot week. A lot of the plants thought, well, that's it. And now the rain has returned and it's very cool. There's been a change of about 25 degrees. But the plants are green. Still flowering, all pucked up after wilting in the sun. We have a huge amount of deadheads in the garden, and the birds are taking advantage of that. The stinging nettles grew very tall, but sadly no butterflies or caterpillars on them. It's feeling like autumn. Leaves are falling, and that's okay. There are still plenty of flowers and colours in the garden. Where this cosmos has come from, I have no idea, but it's nice to see it there. The walking onions went to seed very quick this year, and I'm thinking of taking some of the bulbils and putting them elsewhere in the garden. We've got some pretty black-eyed Susan. I always forget it's here, and I'm very happy when it shows up in the autumn. I must remember to collect some seeds so we can have more in the garden. The aster that always grows really tall and flops is just thinking about flowering. Stunning colour. The paper daisies, I hadn't realised they'd come out so late and fill the garden with colour now, and they are wonderful and they really do feel like paper. So I'm going to let them dry a little bit out here, and then I'll take some in and hang them upside down so I can have paper daisies in the house during the winter. The Jerusalem artichoke wilted totally in the hot sun, but now you wouldn't know. We have a lot of apples falling. Some of them are just leaving. The blackbirds love them, but a lot of them are being collected, and we're experimenting with making apple juice this year, as well as apple leather, apple cakes, apple puree, dried apple, yeah, anything I can think of. I've made some plum chutney with apple in it. This pineapple mint is obviously in the perfect place here. I absolutely love it. And I love the way its colours blend with the ivy that's now creeping up the tree. There are a lot of raspberries preparing for the autumn crop. There's still a lot of food in the garden. I've now closed the polytunnel because it's a bit colder at night. I've been picking blackberries from the garden and the wild, and the elderberries. They are so beautiful. I made blackberry and elderberry jam, which is our favourite, and it's so full of vitamins. It's great for the winter. More raspberries. Definitely going to be enough raspberries to make some raspberry jam this year, because we have raspberries down in our allotment area that we're now going to call the low garden, because we do have to go down very low to get to it. You can see the butternut squash. We have about 20 in the allotment as well. So I'm going to be looking for lots of different ideas and recipes of what to do with butternut squash this winter. And the hops decided to flower. We won't be using the flowers for anything, but they're pretty. And if we go up in here, you can see, oops, I don't know whether I can get there. You can see the Neflier, and I've totally forgotten the English name for it. When I do, I'll write it in the description. A very old fruit. Look at these wonderful seed heads here. Very sculptural. There's no need to pull them out. The birds will feast. A little bright moment of colour. Lovely, lovely white. Didn't think it was going to flower this year, but nature has a way of surprising us. A big difference this month is we've cut the long grass, and we cut it with a scythe first, and then gathered the hay when it was dry, and now we cut it with the lawnmower, and we will keep it short. We haven't got round to cutting this one short with the lawnmower yet, because we've had a lot of rain. It's been a very interesting August. It was cool and wet at the beginning. Then we had about 10 days of intense heat, getting up to 38. And now the temperature's just dropped again, and it's cool. You see, even the outside tomatoes have been very prolific. There aren't so many in the polytunnel now. Still got carrots coming up there. We've had a lovely show of dahlias. They're great for this time of the year. And I've just spotted a trailer load of wood has arrived. Guess what I'll be doing this afternoon? We have more raspberries here. They're a different variety. They're actually very, very prickly. The ones at the back of the garden are a lot more gentle. We still have a few little courgettes coming up. I did give all the courgette plants some natural homemade plant feed just before the rain began to give them a boost. And I love this. I did find out the name of it, and again I've forgotten. I really want to collect the seeds, so hopefully they'll dry a bit today, because I'd like these elsewhere in the garden. I love the way the garden changes over the year, the look. And now we've cut the grass, it looks very different than it did earlier. How different plants arrive and grow in different areas, so it's never exactly the same. The plum trees are now pretty empty. There are still a few plums left on there, but most of them we picked. It was a good crop, three good trays full. And a lot of the beans here, we've allowed them to go to seed. There'll be next year's seeds for the garden and down the allotment, the lower garden. We just noticed that in a lot of the programmes on gardening, that different parts of the gardens tend to have different names. So we're having a think about what to call everything. This part here is obviously the woodland path. We have the bottle wall garden. It's pretty obvious. And we're thinking of calling this middle patch here, we're thinking of calling it Middle Earth. Oh, it's great. So if you have any suggestions for any of the parts of the garden, for names for them, they are welcome. This fennel is going to seed, and it's a favourite of this little beetle. We have a nice lot of quince, still growing slightly. They all stopped growing when it was so hot, but they don't need harvesting yet. I'm just really enjoying being in this garden, seeing what creatures are still around. There's a little, looks like a wasp on the scabious. I did have a little problem with wasps on my writing hut, but now it's got colder. There aren't so many around. So there we are. A little wander around my garden. Our edible forest garden, gardened in a natural way, or as natural as possible. We love it. I hope you do too. Thanks for watching, and have a good month, see you at the end of September.